And coming up, we got a podcast. It's got spoilers, opinions, and bad language. Stick around for more.
All right.
Bonjour and welcome to 250 Reasons to Stay Indoors. I'm Jordan.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Keiran.
And this
You
is the
started it. You started it, goddammit. You said bonjour.
And this is the podcast where we watch the IMDb top 250 films. We use a random number generator which tells us what to watch, and then we watch it and we let you know whether we were annoyed with the time wasted or pleasantly surprised with the time well spent. Kieran, what are we watching today?
Today, we're going to watch Hacksaw Ridge, which is from 2016, and it's 176 on the old list there.
Oh, okay. I've heard of this before. I pictured it being an older film. What do you think it's about?
Oh, mate, it sounds rough. Hacksaw Ridge. I haven't heard of this, even despite it coming out 2 years ago. Hacksaw Ridge. That does not sound pleasant at all. So
No.
it just sounds like some kind of horror movie or just I don't know. I have the idea that it's a location. So Hacksaw Ridge. So a ridge is sometimes like some kind of mountainous range, right?
Right.
And okay. I just realized what it might be. So there's loads of hacksaws there because people fall down this ridge and they have to chop off their arms because they get their arms stuck in boulders and things like that. Yeah.
Very
so
good.
what's that film? 129 hours or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I reckon it's that kind of vibe.
Okay. That's better than my idea. I was imagining that it's like a sort of documentary based around perhaps like a tribe that lived in some sort of ravine, somewhere like
The
know
tribe
how you
in
get
a
like
ravine?
the Grand Canyon is huge, and you get like fossils where like there was small little gatherings of people that used to live there and thrive there. I'm imagining that there's this ridge, a ravine, that got its name Hacksaw Ridge because these indigenous people were the first to develop one of the most successful types of saws, or like the first to really come up with a very effective way of creating the best and most well-performing saws.
So this is the hacksaw originator.
Yeah, so it's like one of those ones where the teacher wheels in the TV into the classroom, and it's like, right, we're going to learn about the indigenous people of Hacksaw Ridge,
and then you have the really loud BBC thing that comes on.
Yeah,
and then it's like back in back in the 800 BC. These people made hacksaws. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
We went to the Grand Canyon to go interview Johnny Staples, and he's like, well, you see, these people over here, they got their hacksaws, and they made them hacksaws real good, and so we stole them from all of them, and now we sell them across the country.
Yeah.
Big up all of our American listeners.
Yeah, nice one.
Thanks for the hacksaws.
Cultural appropriation. Yeah. So should we go and watch it?
Yeah, let's go see what Hacksaw Ridge is actually about.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the bottom of this ridge. And go.
See you over the ridge.
And we're back with a couple of fast thoughts. Morphine.
Put your hand on it.
War.
I got you.
America.
Just one more.
Old times.
Yes, ma'am.
Just doing quotes.
Yeah, there's loads of really good ones.
Spider-Man.
Pirate Corsac.
Wow. Okay, well, I think we'll just leave it there.
Okay, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Do you want to do a 15-second pitch for us?
I sure do. Just kind of summon up all of the energies.
3, 2, 1, go.
This this guy called Desmond Doss, and he is enlisted into the army. He doesn't want to hold a gun, so he becomes a medic. He saves 75 men on Hacksaw Ridge, which is a place in Japan. Comes back, and he doesn't die, but he saves loads of people's lives in doing so. He marries his wife.
12 seconds.
Uh,
Whenever you go under, well, I don't know how often you go under, but when you do go under, it doesn't necessarily have the same effect as when you go over or when you get it right.
What do you mean?
It's like this limbo. It's like when you go over, it's like, you fucked it, Keiran. And then when you get it right, it's like, yeah, you did it. Nice one. When you get under, it's like you weren't trying almost. Like, you know, like it was.
I felt like I was super focused. Like I've never been so focused on a 15-second pitch in ages.
I guess we'll just have to leave it to the decision of the listeners.
Do you feel a bit blue-balled?
A little bit, yeah. I'm going to lie. You've left me wanting more, and I've got 3 seconds worth of pitch left. What am I going to do with that, Keiran?
I mean, you're just going to have to finish yourself off.
I'm so sick of this.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right.
Do you want to do a synopsis then?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this.
I say, do you want to? We do it every
We're
time
gonna do it anyway.
regardless, and we would do regardless of whether you wanted to or not.
Oh.
I think you know that.
Yeah.
So it starts with Private Doss like being screamed at, and they're saying like they're gonna get him back. We're gonna get you back, Doss. You stay with us, Doss. We're gonna get you back, Doss.
Yep.
Don't you down us, Doss.
I mean,
I feel like that was pretty good.
that is quite good, but it is a lot. It is a lot more.
It's more like screamy, isn't it?
And also, it did sound a lot more African American than I think any of the characters were.
Really?
Yeah.
That was not what.
Just the way that you were doing it.
Down me, Doss.
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 Don't you down me, Doss.
We gon' get you back, Doss.
We're gonna get you back, Doss.
That's a little bit more southern.
Stretcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Medic.
Okay, enough. And then we fast forward. We rewind back to when he's a child and he's running through the forest with his brother, and it's all magical and wonderful. He climbs to the top of a mountain,
Playing silly billies,
playing silly buggers, and then and the dad, who's played by Hugo Weaving, is like, "You boys get down here," and they get down there, and then we cut to a scene where his dad is like mourning the loss of his friends. So we find out that obviously his dad served in the army in World War One. Was it though? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it must be because the guys because
it's just saying like 1940.
Because a point later on, the guys
and World War One didn't start in 1940, Jordan. So what are you talking about? Shut up.
So have we clarified that you're wrong? I think we have. And also, I'm going to prove that it's definitely in the First War.
Okay.
Because when he goes to the court trial later on, the guy who's running the court trial says, "That's a great war uniform," and he says, "It sure is." And then continue.
It was World War One, the Great War. Then
how did you not know this?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't have much knowledge of war.
Have you ever been to a museum?
Yes.
So surely you would have learnt about the war.
The war.
Yeah,
there's been more than one war, Keiran.
Well, I know, but see how the British people is just like, oh yeah, World War One, nailed that one. World War Two, in the bag. That's pretty much how they were like with it. They were like, okay, yeah, you Germans want to go for round two? Yeah, we'll knock you on your asses. That's pretty much it. So there's the Great War, and then there's like the reinforcement. Anyway, where were we?
Then we see he sort of walks back to the house, and him and his brother are fighting. His dad walks back to the house. Him and his brother are fighting. And they're like really going at it. His mum's like, "Stop!" And then his dad's like, I'll just let them sort of one of them win. Then I only have to beat one of them." And then, wow, I can't remember his name. Desmond. Sorry, yeah. Desmond picks up a brick and smacks his brother in the face with it.
Gonk.
He's out. So this is where we first sort of see Desmond having a dance with death. And
Desmond's brother.
Well, yeah, but it's, I mean,
having an encounter with his violence
takes two to tango.
Okay.
Death, the person who's dying, and then someone to
initiate
to invigilate and make sure that there's a fair marking scheme going on. In this case, Desmond.
Of course.
So he's sort of sitting in his room whilst they're trying to make sure that his brother doesn't die. And he's just staring at the commandments on the wall, and it's like focusing on the "Thou shalt not kill."
Oh yeah, because they're super religious.
Yeah,
Mad
they're
religious.
what are they? It's Seventh-day Adventists.
Nice.
Jinx, touch wood. You can't talk for the rest of the podcast now. Welcome to 250 Reasons.
You've done this before.
Listeners,
You've done this before.
It's the Jordan cast.
On a different episode.
Yeah, they loved it. I got loads of messages, but they all said not to say anything about it to you.
Okay, so they're really religious, and so Desmond's just looking at the poster,
Yeah.
looking at the "Thou shalt not kill," and so you go. I just drew a blank right there. I just wanted to move on.
Yeah, no, I could tell. So yeah, his mum has like a little pep talk with him, and sort of explains that it's the worst sin. So yeah, we see obviously that from a young age, Desmond's been told not to kill. Then we fast forward to when he is a young but old Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And
is that who it is?
yeah,
Okay.
and
So this is, by the way, all the flip-flopping through times at the start. I kind of got a bit confused by that because I felt like there was a bit of back and forth.
yeah, for a period there, I actually thought that
The film was about the dad.
no, but I thought that initial first bit was his dad.
Okay.
And then it was just carrying on from that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I thought they weren't actually going to go back to that. But anyway,
listeners, the story is about Desmond, the kid who knocked his brother out with a brick. The kid, his brother survived in the end. But yeah, so we carry on learning more about Desmond. I want to say Desmond Decker because I swear that's a character from.
He's from something. Yeah.
Isn't that Blade Runner? Desmond Decker.
Decker is from Blade Runner.
But I swear
I'm not sure if his name is Desmond Decker.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm just going to give it a quick.
You just go ahead and Google it. That's fine. Okay. So Desmond, we working out that he needs to go. He's going to the hospital for a reason. Oh yeah. So there's a guy. He's doing some work in his church or something. There's a guy who's outside the church. A car falls on him. As in, like, he's doing some work underneath it. The car falls on him. So Desmond takes this guy to the hospital.
He's a Jamaican singer-songwriter.
Desmond Decker.
Yeah.
Oh, I really got that.
We were miles off.
Okay, I just realized. Yeah, I did know that. I honestly did know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
That's really embarrassing because I can't sound more white saying this. I really do like ska music. And
I've never got behind it. You know,
really?
I don't know why I don't like ska. I like reggae, but
I'm
it's
quite
too
the
fast.
opposite. It's too fast.
It's too fast.
Well, reggae's too slow for me.
No.
I find. Okay, this is a completely separate discussion. Let's just get on with the synopsis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes to the hospital and he gives his belt to the guy because he patched up the wound. You know, like when you restrict the blood from flowing and you put it.
Tourniquet.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Anyway,
So you apply this tourniquet.
Yeah,
I did. Well done, son. You may have saved this boy's life.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your boy Desmond, he's looking around the hospital and he's like, oh, all these medics are really inspiring. Then he sees this really, really gorgeous woman called Dorothy. And she is mad gorgeous. She's an absolute babe. So he goes into there, gives some blood because she's doing the blood donations and whatever. And he goes back the next day and she's like, well, you can't give blood on 2 days. And he was like, he does this line. It was, I was hoping to take mine back because every time I think of you.
Ever since you took it, my heart's been racing. And every time I think of you, it's been racing even more still. Something stupid like that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So,
and she was like, "That's cheesy." He was like, "Oh, was it?" Basically, Desmond's like a little hillbilly who doesn't have much interaction with the outside world except from church, and he'd never really had much experience talking to girls. So the whole situation of them they go on to sort of date, and it's very like awkward. And
they go to the cinema.
Yeah, there's like clearly a chemistry there. But it's like Desmond's just sort of like struggling. Well, not really struggling.
He doesn't struggle that much. He's just a bit weird. He's just a bit awkward.
Yeah.
But,
so
but she likes it. Yeah. She's into it.
Yeah, exactly.
So they get it on.
Well, they don't. No, they go to a cinema.
Well, they get the dating
and
on.
they have a kiss. They get the kissing on.
Because you know about kissing.
Yeah, I do. And I can confirm that was kissing that they were doing.
Yeah, okay, good.
So they were doing some kissing there. Then
did some kissing on the
kissing on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And
kissing on the rocks.
Yeah, and then he finds out that his brother has enlisted for the army
because the Japanese have just bombed Pearl Harbor by this time.
Yeah. So this happens. His dad is furious because of his dad believes that he sort of did what he did for nothing almost, and like all of his friends died. He doesn't want his sons to do the same thing. So his brother disappears off of the face of the movie.
That's a good point,
and
actually.
then later on, like a couple of days later or something, Desmond decides that he wants to enlist.
So he's driving to the hospital to drop off Dorothy, and Dorothy's really furious. But they both walk towards the hospital, and Dorothy's like, "Well, are you gonna bloody marry me?" Something like that. And Desmond's like, "Yeah, I guess so." And so he proposes to Dorothy, and she's like, "Well, yeah, of course." They have a quick hug, and she's like, "Well, I'm still pissed off at you." He goes off to the army.
Yeah.
And he starts his training.
Initiate boot camp situation. Boot camp section of film. This is where we get
everything that you can imagine that a boot camp could be.
Yeah,
it's all
classic boot camp scenes. But with the tasteful addition of Vince Vaughn.
What the fuck?
What was he doing in this?
He's supposed to be in
so
like a stepdad involved movie.
There were so many fucking awesome lines that he gave, though. So we'll go into those later. But so basically, this is where we find out that Desmond refuses to pick up a gun. He made a promise to God that he would never touch a gun, for reasons which we later find out were that he had intervened in a situation where his mum and his dad were fighting, because also what we haven't mentioned is that Desmond's dad is a drunk. And so obviously, not obviously, but there was quite a few sort of altercations. Between him and his mum. So there's a flashback at one point where we see that Desmond intervenes and like grabs the gun out of his hand and sort of shoots it at the ceiling by accident, and then like points it at him, and he says to one of his friends that at that point, even though he didn't kill him, in his head he did, sort of thing. So like he makes this promise to God that he's never going to touch a gun. So why did you join the army, Desmond?
Because he saw two people who didn't enlist, and because of the shame in his town, they committed suicide. And he's like, well, I'm not going to do that. And also, if I go to jail for being a conscientious objector, then I'm not saving anyone's life. So I thought I may as well put some good into the world by saving some people's life, whilst the world is pretty intent on tearing itself apart. That's the reason he gave.
Yeah. So basically, he just felt that he needed to do something. He felt personally attacked by Pearl Harbor himself, and he wanted to do something, but he refused to pick up a gun. So whilst everyone's killing each other, he's going to try and heal some people.
You just repeated exactly what I said. Why'd you do this?
Oh, because I wasn't listening. So then there's obviously like quite a few back and forths between his superiors about this. In all other measures, he seems to succeed with flying colours.
He's really fast.
Yeah, he's really fast,
Speedy
athletic and everything. But he won't do like the basic rifle training and stuff like that. So they keep trying to get rid of him. They sort of manipulate the situation so that he ends up getting beaten by his bunkmates and such, and gets given like the clean the toilet duty all the time. And then there's eventually the situation put in front of him where he will be court-martialed because he refuses to take a direct order to pick up a gun. And so he is put in army prison whilst they arrange for the court hearing. Meanwhile, because he's put in the prison, he misses his wedding because he was applying for furlough so that he could go and get married. This is taken away from him because he did not complete the basic training. And furlough is only granted to those who have completed the basic training.
A part of which is the rifle thing.
Exactly.
And Dorothy's dad at the wedding is like, some guys just get cold feet. And Dorothy's like, Not my Desmond. So anyway, so there's this, essentially there's like a little court case thing where you got the main bloke who's saying, okay, do you plead guilty or not guilty to these charges? And Desmond's like, I plead not guilty. And they're all like, well, we thought you were going to plead guilty because the idea was that you would plead guilty and you would leave, basically.
Yeah.
And you just not come back. But you wouldn't go to prison or anything like this. You would just leave. And he says that he wants to serve as a medic, but they're still saying that you can't serve because you haven't completed blah, 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 blah. Yeah. His dad turns up out of nowhere in his uniform. And his dad has previously gone to this other... who's this guy? Some general or some captain or some shit?
Yeah, he's just a high-ranking army official, higher than any of the other people in this room.
Right, who were in charge. So this guy in this other room somewhere, like this is a different place. And he says to him, "Yo, you were my captain in World War One. Remember that time, the Great War? Yeah. Can you sign this piece of paper and so that my son can be a medic and not have to pick up a gun? Remember, I was your boy." And this guy's like, "Yeah, no props, dude." And so Desmond's dad goes back to
we don't actually see that scene. I think that's just what Kieran's made up in his head.
Yeah. But they get on like real pals. And so Desmond's dad goes back to the court thing. Well, he goes up to the court thing, busts into the room, and he's like, "Hey, here's a letter." And the guy doing the court martial thing, he's like, "Oh, let me see that letter." And so he reads the letter, and he's like, "Oh, the guy," he reads from the dude's writing, and he's saying, "I say by the US government that this guy can go be a medic," basically.
Yeah.
So Desmond pisses off and goes to be a medic. Not before he gets married, though.
I just want to establish, I don't know why it's bugging me so much. He doesn't just read the letter and then that's it. What actually happens is he reads the letter and then the general who put the sort of complaint or whatever the charges, then drops the charges because the superior has said this.
Okay.
Not like...
I'm sorry, I prioritized moving on with the technicalities of the court case, but I appreciate you tying up those loose ends.
I feel like that's just a nice technical, I like a juicy little bit of technicalities that I like.
And we like those.
We do. So yeah, go on, proceed.
Okay. Desmond gets married, and there's a quick little scene when Dorothy takes off her nightgown, and it's like, this is when they get it on. And I made a note of like, you put a baby in that woman right now, because it's quite evident that that's what's about to happen. Anyway, he goes off to Japan, and they go to a place called Hacksaw Ridge.
Mm-hmm. And Okinawa.
Sorry?
Okinawa.
Yes, 1945. So what's happened is, if you don't know what a ridge is, because I didn't actually know what a ridge was.
Really?
I didn't know. It's like a massive cliff, basically. It's like a massive cliff, but just on land as opposed to like on sea. So where the sea would usually be, that's one level, and then you've got like several hundred meters, and then you've got the next, like, you know, you've got to climb up this ridge. So you climb up the cliff face on a big rope ladder thing, not a rope ladder, like a net, big chunky rope net thing. And there's a bunch of Japanese people on top, and they're like, surprise, daga 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 daga, bang 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 bang. And essentially what goes down is they have one day, big fighting. Day two, big fighting. A bunch of people die. Loads of Americans die. On day two, the Japanese take back loads of land, so they lose even more people. All the Americans just piss off, but our boy Desmond is still on the ridge. And what he does, instead of going away with the rest of the Americans, he decides to save them, and he pulls them all to the side of the ridge, and he really sneakily, like outside of the Japanese eyes, he manages to take them all away from there. Well, not all of them, but just like 75 people. He manages to remove them all from the danger area and lowers them down on a rope.
Yeah.
And they all get stretched in. And they all back at the HQ, they're all like, "Where the fuck are all these people from our squad coming from?" And they're like, "It's Doss. He's still up on the ridge." And they're like, "What the fuck?" And so they finally bring him in. Day 3 comes along, and the guy who was a dick to him initially was like, "Hey, I really hope you can forgive me. By the way, tomorrow's your Sabbath, and I'm sure that you know, I recognize that, but we hella need your help because there's loads of medics who want to help." So day 3, they go up there, they go onto the ridge, they kill all the Japanese surrender, and Desmond Doss gets injured, but he gets stretchered off, and he gets like zip-lined down back to ground again. And that's where the film ends. Yeah. And we see a little end of the thing.
Yeah.
The Americans have won that. They've won Hacksaw Ridge. And we then see like a few little interviews with
the actual
real life Desmond Doss and a few other people, like so that the generals and whatever else, and some buddies of his and stuff.
Yeah.
And Desmond and Dorothy were married until her death. What was it, in 1992 or something like that?
I don't know.
Something like that. And he died in 2003. So
yeah, pretty
solid.
Yeah.
And that's the film.
Yeah, that's the film. Did you like it?
Yeah, man. Like, so the only other war film that we've seen is Platoon. And I wasn't down with Platoon.
No.
But man, this was fucking well done. And I'm not sure I've ever seen a Mel Gibson film before. But when I saw Mel Gibson's name come up at the end, I was like, I feel like this makes sense.
See, I watched this one with my dad.
That's a good person, because I know your dad, so that's a good person to watch this film.
He's a good person to watch a film with.
Well, this particular kind of film, I think.
Yeah, sometimes. So what happened was I stuck the film on, and he came in to just eat his dinner, and then he just stayed.
Cool story, bro.
What I'm trying to say is that obviously the film was quite good. Like, it gripped his attention.
Okay.
So yeah, it's worth watching a film with him if he actually wants to watch the film. I got quite a few little lines that he said that were quite funny.
That your dad said?
Yeah, like...
do you reckon your dad would be good on this show?
No.
I reckon he'd embarrass you the whole time.
Yeah, he would.
I'd really like that.
Yeah.
My dad would love to come on this show.
It would also have to be a clean episode, I think. No swearing.
Is he not a big swearer?
No, well, he doesn't mind it.
Okay.
I generally don't swear in front of my parents, though.
You kind of got to pick your moments. With my dad,
I do, but not often.
Okay. All right. So what were the lines that he was saying?
Oh, well, we'll get to them. It's fine.
Oh,
but
okay.
Anyway, what I was saying was on the fact of Mel Gibson. Neither me or my dad realized it was directed by Mel Gibson, obviously, until the end credits. And we were both like, didn't see that coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I haven't seen that many Mel Gibson films, but the only one I can think of is like Braveheart and Passion of the Christ. And
okay.
I don't know, it didn't seem like it was going to be a Mel Gibson film because it wasn't. It didn't seem like totally up its own arse.
And also, I was kind of worried at the start because I saw it was going to be a really war-y film. I saw it was going to be hella religious, and I was just like, no.
No.
But then, Jordan, it's the classic thing to hook Keiran in. Get some family/relationship vibes going on. You know,
get some family drama.
Yeah, some family drama, some baggage. Chuck some baggage in there, and then a good deal of fresh relationship.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to be there. And then all the war stuff is kind of like, and also it was done really well. It's not like it was...
So I think the main difference between this and Platoon was the fight scenes. Like the fight scenes in this seemed a lot nice. Well, let's not forget that they were filmed quite far apart in terms of time.
I'm
so
sure.
What's possible may have drastically increased. This was done in 2016. I don't think Platoon was what was that, 90s? 80s?
I want to say 90s, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well, so yeah, it's quite far.
Yeah.
And I think, well, actually, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the director of Platoon had actually been at war.
Oh, yeah.
Mel Gibson hadn't been at war. In fact, one of the things, a lot of the fight scenes in this film were based off of nightmares that Mel Gibson had after his dad, who had been in the war, had told him like stories from the war.
Yeah.
So it's loosely based upon war stories.
Also, bear in mind as well that the fact that their nightmares and stuff would contribute to the way that there was loads of slow-mo being used.
Yeah.
And like...
No, yeah, that's what I mean, the contrast. You can see that, can't you, a little bit.
It's a lot more artistic.
Yeah.
And I did appreciate that.
Yeah. Me too.
I also preferred the democracy in it because, sure, there was a lot of like the yips this and the Japs that, but there was... When it came towards the end of the film, you saw times where the Japanese were dying and the Americans were dying, and like there would be a dead Japanese person and a dead American person like right next to each other, and then you that little kind of moment made me think, oh yeah, he's pointing out that the Americans and the Japanese died on the same battlefield. It's not just taking one side. It wasn't a love story to American war and patriotism. That's kind of why I felt, and I was kind of on Desmond's side as well.
Well, actually, one of the things I thought that kind of bothered me was
beef.
Yeah, let's just section into beef.
Beefs.
Okay. So one of the things that kind of bothered me was that. So it had the whole scene of Desmond doing the saving and the 75 people and all of that, and it's all incredible. And like the whole film up to this point had led up to, had sort of explained how almost to be victorious you don't need to kill people, and to like make things better you can be passive.
Yeah.
Like it just takes someone to have the courage to help someone, and I really liked that message. However, I felt like after that night, and he'd like it was like, you've now inspired everyone to go up and kill more people. Now we can go and kill everyone. And they go up and then they win. And it's like, I mean, that's what happened. So, it's not necessarily too much of a fictitious story. But actually what happened was that whole thing in real life was over the course of 3 weeks, not like 3 days.
Oh.
Yeah,
right.
And it also wasn't his first combat experience.
That kind
either.
of explains why the bloody Vince Vaughn was able to run around fit as a fiddle when it seemed to me like the day before he'd been shot in the legs. Do you know what I mean?
Well, exactly. I mean, it just, the way that it was done, it all seemed really good until right at the end. I just had this little niggling like, well, now I feel like actually you've just soiled that sort of message of conscientious objectors and maybe potentially having it right, and maybe we don't need to kill everyone, because there's like the bits where he is healing the Japanese and he's like like he sends some Japanese bodies down and it's like, yeah, this is great, like everyone should just get along, nice mushy message like that, but no, let's actually we're all happy again, let's go and kill them all.
Well, I think he's kind of wrestling with like, how much can he do? Because if he starts like putting it forward too much, and if he starts essentially protesting whilst he's doing the work.
Oh, no.
Then he would just be like shot or get fired.
I'm amazed that he even did that in the first place, given the time. Like, it's incredible that he would do that. So I'm not, by any means am I putting this on him. I'm saying maybe the writing of the film could have taken a better turn towards the end. I don't write films, Keiran. I'm not a screenwriter. I can't do that. But
one of the only ways to remedy that is if he'd have done a monologue at the end of the film, like a narration.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I would have fucking hated that. I actually really liked the way that the film ended with just him with his Bible getting zip line stretchered down to the floor.
Into the heavens. It looks so silly.
Yeah, it did look a bit silly, but I kind of allowed it.
I was actually like just waiting for one of the strings to snap, like to just black. And then, like, you hear a string snap, and then the film ends.
That would have been really bad. I was waiting for the strings to disappear and for him to float into the actual heavens.
Yeah, it looks so stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Okay, have you got a beef?
Just the abuse of army stuff, like boot camp and like.
It's an army film.
Yeah, I mean, this is the discussion that we had last time with Platoon. Mm-hmm. Like all the things that I had that were beefs. Yeah, I don't like the testosterone, Jordan, and you're like, right. Well, it's an army film, so. It's like me. It's like if we watched the Fast and Furious, and I was like, "Yeah, I just don't like the use of diesel engines," and you were like, "Well, it's a car film, isn't it?"
Keiran? Probably would have driven petrol engines.
Oh,
what's your issue with that though? Why does that bother you?
Petrol engines?
No. Why does it bother you that there's army stuff?
But it's emotionally abusing people. Why? I don't understand why you're not agreeing with me. There's like the emotional abuse of people. And so it's interesting. I recently listened to a podcast about Tim Ferriss was interviewing this guy that's like some Tim Kennedy is this guy's name, and he's like some mad military guy, and he's got like bare accolades, and he's like an MMA fighter, and he's like the most masculine, macho, crazy super dude ever.
Right. Okay.
And he's really intense. To the point where he brought up cranes, like normal working cranes, like on construction sites. He's like, if you don't have an American flag on your crane, then I don't know what you're doing. You should put if you have a crane, you should put an American flag on your crane. So he's very much like that kind of vibe.
Sounds like the kind of guy I'd want to have dinner with and chat with.
Yep. Yeah. Sure. Anyway, but I mean, it gave me a lot to think about. So, but one of the things he was saying that when he was doing his special ops training for like. It was like the spy shit, not like the spy shit, but like the Navy SEALs plus 1,000%. Like it was like next level. Like the people who they're not flashy at all. They're like the blend into plain sight kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they have this system where it's like they just remove your ego completely and they like rebirth you.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they just like they scream abuse at you and everything so that you're literally nothing. And then they build you up as a fresh person. And I'm like, well, I can see how that might be valuable, but this guy is actually really damaged. And also the way to get there is by torturing and abusing people.
Yeah.
And as much as you might feel like you're on the same side, and as much as they could, I guess, walk away at any moment, if they walk away from that, they're straight up traumatized. And so they have to complete the system to get any kind of mental stability back. And then they might just have PTSD the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing about emotional abuse is like as a character building kind of thing. I just don't really buy it because I don't feel like it's that any kind of abuse is conducive towards good living, you know?
I don't think war is chiefly concerned with good living.
I don't agree with war anyway. It's not as if Jordan, I wasn't going to say like, yeah, don't call people names, but you can shoot people. Like, I wasn't going to say that. Like, straight up, I don't agree with any of it anyway. But in the context, in the grand scheme of it, I was like, okay, Vince Vaughn, there's a bit too much of that for me.
Okay, so we can both agree that we don't necessarily agree with war.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Also, what do you think about Vince Vaughn?
I fucking loved Vince Vaughn. I thought he was great in this. I actually thought he was the least aggressive, like, captain person that I've ever seen in a film like this. But it was more funny one-liners than, like, actually aggressive.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, yeah, he did have a lot of humanity to him.
Yeah, it's just like, make sure you keep this man away from strong winds. Yeah, that's just fucking hilarious. Like, I mean, I'd be like in the film, Dos is laughing when he's saying these things. Like, if I was there, I would also be laughing because like he says some really funny stuff.
Yeah,
it's just what's wrong with you? There's a knife in my boot. Why is there a knife in your boot? Just like, well, no, I mean, it's not. He's actually screaming at him. So, but
yeah. It's not that calm. So yeah, there's that. You got another little beef?
Yeah. Probably. I don't know. You're not going to agree with me on this one. He just like. Does anyone actually stand staring at a woman like a doofus like that? Like, it's totally speechless. Like, I get the whole, like, you know, love at first sight and you're, like, totally overwhelmed and don't know what to say.
But do you get it?
Yeah, no, I do. I get it. I get the concept. I get it. But, like, does anyone ever actually do that?
Jordan.
See, I knew you were going to... I almost didn't want to say anything because I knew you were going to be like, actually, one time I just...
Jordan.
What? Go on. Don't patronize me with those fucking eyes.
Jordan. No, seriously, Jordan. Honestly, it does happen at first sight.
Really, just to stand there though, like, and just be like,
yes, yeah, man, yeah. Have you ever like? I mean, there are times where like you find someone so crazy beautiful. It's like, I know that it's creepy, but it's like, I just want to look at your face the whole time because you kind of encapsulating everything that I dream about a lot of the time. And it's cute, and it's cool, it's romantic. Jordan?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know, sometimes you make me feel like I'm not human.
I think you already made that quite clear by asking the question in the first place. So Keiran, I don't understand how humans have connections. Where they feel romantically involved with people. Can you explain this to me?
No, because I do feel romantically involved. Like, I do have those emotions, but there's just some of them that I just don't understand. Some of them I feel like they're just like a Hollywood like fabrication, and that people like buy into it and think that it's a real thing.
I think, Jordan, like it's the physical acts that you're struggling with. So, for example, the before sunrise taking the picture thing, the standing gawping at people in this film. I feel like maybe you with your interactions, maybe you're just there with your girlfriend or whatever, and it's just like, this is emotional, and then you move on with your life. Or maybe like when you're doing things that I would consider to just be normal things or like typical Jordan things. Maybe actually when you're playing games with your girlfriend, like you're playing video games and stuff, maybe that's like the same mad romantic, like super lovey-dovey swelling strings moment that there was in this film when he was standing gawping at her.
Yeah, I just stand like gawping at her character on the game.
Like, you look so
the way
beautiful.
You took out that turret. I'm so madly in love with you.
I was going to try and give some game.
No, yeah, I was about to say that you're not going to be able to do that, are you?
No, I'm not even going to give it a go now. No. Okay, moving on
though. You captured that point like you captured my heart.
Okay.
So another beef.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
So when they first get to the ridge, or the camp beneath the ridge, and they see the platoon that they're going to be taking over, basically, as in swapping out with.
Yeah.
There's like trucks that have just dead bodies on them, basically.
Yeah.
As if they didn't have like tarp, like something to cover that up with.
That's a good point, actually.
My mum made this point because she was in the room at this point, and she was like, "Well, that's great for morale." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's gonna fuck morale, isn't it?"
Yeah,
These guys
really
are like
point,
fresh faced, like, let's go to war, and then they just see like a load of guys dead on a truck, just like drive straight past them
with no tarp.
Are you telling me that the army, the military can't organize some sort of like package of tarps?
Why don't you call the American military right now?
What's the number?
It's let me just send it over to you.
Okay.
Tick, 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 tick. You got it? Hello? I think there's a pigeon on the line somewhere. Hey?
Sorry, no, that's over here. Hi, is that the American military?
Yeah.
Hi, yeah. My name's Jordan. Just calling from England. I just watched.
Good evening, Private Jordan.
No, I'm not in the army. I'm just Jordan.
Citizen Jordan.
Mr. Deer, actually. Thank you.
Mr. Deer.
Thank you.
What can I do for you? This is the American Army.
What's your name, sir?
I am General Johnson.
General Johnson.
Call in the phone.
General, indeed.
All the generals pick up the phone when the public calls them.
Yeah?
General Johnson, speaking to you, Mr. Dare.
Is that first name or last name, Johnson?
Of course, it's my surname.
It's your surname. What's your first name?
Bill.
General Bill Johnson.
General Bill Johnson.
What's your middle name?
Henry.
General Bill Henry Johnson. Any other names?
It's also the third, but I don't want to go on about it.
There's a third.
Like, there's a third middle name.
Or is it Bill Henry Johnson the third?
No.
General Bill Johnson Henry the third, or is it
Bill Henry
Johnson the third? Okay, all right. Sorry, I got off track there. Why don't you have tarp?
Sir, we do not have tarp.
Why?
Because to carry tarp is to carry more materials than we need.
But you already carry stuff like rope.
When do you use tarp in any other places than covering things?
Just carry it on the truck.
A lot of tarp really adds up the weight,
No, it doesn't.
And it's only useful if you're having picnics and you want to put it on the floor so that you don't get your bum wet.
Well, you can get green tarp. You can get green army tarp.
Sir, I am not saying that you cannot get green tarp. I am saying that it is useless.
You're just saying that you can't get tarp. Are you too weak to carry it?
Do not insult my strength, Mr. Deer. I'm telling you that in the time of... When were you thinking of,
Look,
by
John,
the way?
Can I call
what
you John?
What kind of time frame
were you asking Bill? Henry? Just carry
It's Bill. You can call me Bill. I will allow you to call me Bill.
Okay.
General Bill.
Okay. General, just take the tarp.
Sir, we do have tarp in these days. But what kind of time frame were you thinking that we would have tarp?
1940s.
Oh, absolutely no chance.
Why not?
Well, how could you expect that people would be able to carry tarp from all around the world? Tarp is one of those things, like kangaroos in Australia.
You
can only keep tarp in America.
You just fly it over?
American tarp stays in American soil.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
What did they say, Jordan?
Oh, they said that they're fucking idiots.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They admitted that?
Yeah, the guy sounded like an absolute douchebag.
Who are you speaking to?
General Bill Henry Johnson III.
Wow. What, do they have to say that every single time that they answer to me?
No, but I was curious.
Okay.
Have you got any beefs?
Yeah, so when they're in the battlefield and they do the first day of shooting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And your boy Desmond's having a chat with one of the guys, and then he brings out his Bible again to read it because, classic read, loves a nighttime read. How the fuck can he read anything? Like, it's absolutely pitch black. And he's going to hurt his eyes He's got little tiny letters.
He probably knows it all off by heart, though, doesn't he?
Point.
Just having the page in front of you. He's probably read it. You know, it's like you know, you've seen something before. It's easier to make out again, even if you can't.
That's a good point.
Fully see it.
That's a good point. It's like when you're listening to the song, and you know,
and you can see the song as you're listening.
No. Not talking about synesthesia. I'm talking about, like, let's say you don't know what the lyrics are. You couldn't write them all out if you weren't listening to it. But as the song goes along, you know the words they come.
Yeah.
Cool. I just realised that there's a moth in front of us, Jordan. Try not to get too distracted. Okay. Next up. You see that there was a part where he had a nightmare and there was a green flashing light.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of Japanese people that just turned up in his nightmare.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being jumping out of your skin, how scared were you by that?
1.
Okay. That's okay. Just asking.
What about you, Kieran?
Just asking. Next up.
I reckon that was probably one of what's his face, Mel's nightmares. I just realised this dude's got a woman's name.
What, Desmond?
Mel Gibson. Melanie Gibson.
What's the? How could that be a male name? I don't want to shame Mel Gibson.
Melanie. What else is Mel short for?
Maybe that's the suffix of his name.
Melon.
No. Maybe Mel is the last part of his name.
Mel.
Samuel
Gibson. Samuel L. Gibson.
Yeah, maybe.
Or Dammel.
Dammel. What's that? My name Dammel.
Mel Gibson.
No, my last few beefs, just one quick one. His hair was in really good condition at different points, and it was like, I'm not really sure how good.
That's Andrew Garfield, though. He can't help that.
Oh, is that just a condition that he has?
Yeah, it just seems to be something that
that's just a thing.
It's incredible hair, yeah.
That's not bad, actually. There was a Wilhelm scream, I think, at one point. Really, really sneakily chucked in there.
Probably, yeah.
There was a point where there was some blood shot, and it was the only point where there was blood.
Camera splatter, yeah, weird.
That was strange.
Weird, yeah.
And there was
There's quite a few things in this film that felt like they were done for a 3D viewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Because there was quite a few things that came out at the screen.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've still never been to a 3D film.
Really?
I've still never been.
It's okay, but you have to wear the glasses, and if the glasses aren't comfortable after like an hour or so, it gets kind of like annoying because then you want to take them off, but if you take them off, then everything's blurry.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, maybe I'll just bring some little foam pads so I can put them on the inside of the glasses.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing you would do.
Yeah, it really is.
Do you want to do some bits and bobs?
Endless bandages. What's up with that? Quick beef. Okay, now we can go into bits and bobs.
So my dad was just like, why doesn't he just like use his Spider-Man powers? And then he said that I could use that line.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool.
That one's for you, Dad.
Oh, that's nice.
But one of the things he did say was there's like right at the start, they're all getting picked off by the Japanese, and he's like, well, they've got shit tactics. We get taught better tactics than that in the police. Like they're all bunched together. They're all grouped up. I knew this from playing video games. It's like you're making yourself an easy target because you're all together. Like, you need to spread out. So then at least like if you're prioritizing the fire from different places, it's not all just like concentrated in one place.
And you can get fucked by your flanks if you're all in one side. As in like if you're in one pack, then the sides of your pack can get...
Yeah, you want to form a long line, didn't you?
But they all climbed up that rope fucking thing.
Yeah, and then you just funnel out, Kieran. You just funnel out.
And you just spread. You just spread it.
Yeah.
And then you move forwards. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yeah. All right. That sounds like a beef. That's okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Bit and Bob?
Yeah. There was a bit of a weird bit where Doss has got the captain. No, not the captain. He's got someone on his shoulders. I think it's the guy, the movie star looking guy. You know, that one with the pencil mustache? Can't remember what his name was. Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking that. And there's like a scene where they're running and the panting is overdubbed. I don't know if you remember that. Well, anyway, so it's just a scene they're running and it just like you could just hear really like prominently like
Yeah.
I was just thinking like that must have been so weird to record.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like just in a booth, just sort of doing like.
Dude, have you seen? There's an amazing video of fucking Hugh Jackman from when he was recording overdubs for Logan.
No.
Amazing video.
Sounds the kind of thing I would love to see.
It's really cool because you also see like the actual image from the film at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And it's him like in a recording studio with headphones on, and he's like crouched over, going like that for like a good 5 minutes. It's really amazing. It's really.
I suppose they could just record loads of clips of him making like punching noises and stuff like that, and like grunting, and then just drop
That's
it
all
in.
it is. It's just like 2 or 3 minutes of him grunting and running around.
That's cool.
It's really, really cool.
Okay. Do you have any bits and bobs?
No. Who would you be?
I would probably be his brother and just reappear in the film at some point. Just actually continue to be in the film. Seems a bit weird that like there seems to be this sort of like relationship between the two right at the start. I mean, they're brothers, and like the whole thing about his family, and like I just feel like his brother would have had some sort of more of an input in his life, or like at least like more. We would have more information about his what drives him.
Yeah,
coming from memories from his brother or something like that. There was just really not that much.
What point in the film would you reappear?
I would reappear. I would reappear. I'm trying to see what I could do with that word. I can't do anything. I would reappear in Hacksaw Ridge, like be one of the platoons coming back or something like that. That'd be quite cool to see him added there. That
would be really emotional because what if he saved his own brother?
Well, yeah, what if he doesn't? Like, what if he couldn't save him?
Oh my God.
Like, that would be a nice little emotional tug on the old heartstrings there.
That would be really, really emotional.
Who would you be?
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you who I'd be. I think I'd be Hollywood.
Okay.
And I think what I would do is I would...
Not be such a snivelly little bitch.
I mean, there's that. But also, if he's Hollywood, is he actually, like, an actor?
Yeah. I would like to have seen, like, a little bit more about his backstory.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see more of his personality.
There wasn't much about it.
Because the only part of his personality that you saw was that he was so cocky that he was doing naked pull-ups in the bunks when he first went to.
Yeah, and then he sort of just disappears out of the film after that, really, doesn't he?
Not really.
Not like no. I mean, he's in it.
His character disappears. But that's because he becomes less like emotionally prominent. And I think if he had more bravado at the start, then he would just be a bit more engaged. By the way, he is really fit, by the way. So
he's jacked.
Oh, yeah. And I was just like, all right, this is cool. This is cool. If you were to bring someone into the film, who would you bring?
Okay. I don't know how I came up with this idea, but it's a bit left of field. Bear with me. Mm-hmm. I've got some ways around how this doesn't work.
Okay.
I would bring Batman in.
Okay.
All right. And I would have him recruit Desmond Doss into the Justice League of America, and make him.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Wait. It's not. I'm not like bridging.
Go on.
Right. Okay. But I would make Desmond a superhero, and I just thought this would be really cool to have him like. So like, what if right?
Yeah.
What if Desmond's unfathomable drive to save human life?
Yeah.
Didn't come from God. It was actually like some sort of supernatural thing. Like he actually has a superpower that means that like he's just able to, when like someone is working under adrenaline and there's like some martial artists that are so well trained that in certain situations their reactions actually speed up and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, and they can literally see stuff happening slower than it is almost. And that's a real thing. What if he has this ability that when he is trying to save a life, he could just become like this sort of like sneaky little ninja dude and could just get shit done.
You can see the bullets
before
they even get there.
Yeah, and so like Batman's going to travel back in time, or maybe it'll be Batman's dad or something doing some dad batting, and he'll just like go over and recruit him, and Desmond would become like this. I was playing with superhero names, and I was stuck between either just the Medic or Medic Man, and he'd just be like sort of like this person that goes around healing other superheroes and like being in like battles and stuff like that.
That's something that you don't see superheroes doing a lot. It's putting
not punching stuff, like just picking people up.
So do you reckon he'd be jacked at all? Maybe a little bit more, or
No, he'd still be wiry. Like, I think the point is he doesn't come across as like a superhero, and that's probably why he would like survive.
Is one of his
people don't
superpowers
expect him.
Having like limitless bandages? Does that explain why?
Maybe he just knows exactly how much bandage to use. Yeah, so it's like conserving. He just has like he never uses more than he needs.
By the way, I find it a bit ridiculous that someone's got a gunshot wound. It's like, all right, put this tissue on your chest and push it down real hard. There you go, mate. Job's a good one, and that's it. It's like fucking hell. Like I don't understand how that works.
I mean, A, it's a movie, and B, he's only getting them to the tent where they actually do the real like stuff, don't they? So he's only got to patch them up for like literally what?
You could just put a sock there.
Yeah,
I don't understand why it has to be a proper.
Your beef is with the bandages here.
Okay, okay, the bandage is clean to be fair, so that's probably it.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, as you were.
No, I mean that's it. So I bring Batman in, and sort of take him aside and like coerce him into becoming a superhero savior.
Okay, cool.
You?
I'd bring in the samurai from Yojimbo.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
And so you see how the flip-flopping vibe. So I would just pay him all of the money to be on the American side, and he would be it'd be like an inside double agent vibe of the Japanese.
I mean, he was only able to sort of negotiate one guy with a gun.
That's okay, because he would just be doing some ninja vibe shit, and he would just be killing them on the sly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I see. So pretending to be like on the Japanese side, being like a spy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And also he might give them. So he would be able to give the Americans the heads up about the second day, where they go and like the Japanese like ambush the Americans. The samurai guy would be able to give them the heads up.
Okay.
That's what I'd be.
All right. Would you stay indoors?
I really would. And actually, I proper surprised myself with how much I'd stay indoors for this film.
Yeah.
Considering it's like an army film and stuff.
From a scale of the hallway to the room where your TV is, how much indoors would you be?
I would be pretty solidly in the room.
In the room,
not quite like sitting on the sofa with a nice drink and some snacks and stuff, but I would definitely be solidly in the room, like standing with the drink in my hand, watching the telly.
Okay,
that far.
Yeah.
Would you stay indoors?
Yeah, no, I'd stay indoors. I'd probably be sitting down in the room.
Okay, that's nice. That's
and then I'd probably leave like 10 minutes before the end.
Why'd you do this?
I don't know. No. I would stay indoors. I liked it. I thought it was good. I still have that sort of little beef around the fact that it sort of all sort of turned a bit weird at the end.
Sure.
Well, not weird, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
But yeah.
If you want to stay indoors to watch this film, you can watch it on UK Netflix.
Yes, you can.
And also, I just want to do a quick shout out to our listeners in West Virginia, because that's where this guy comes from.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to
shout out West Virginia?
Nice one. Thank you. Cool. Thank you. So yeah, go check that out.
Yeah. See you next time when we will be watching
Finding Nemo.
Kieran's very excited for this one.
I am so excited.
Yeah. So
we'll see you next week. See you next week. There you go.
See you next week.
See you next week for Finding Nemo.
Mice. Hello and welcome to the end of the podcast. I'm Jordan.
I'm Keiran.
And this is the end where we talk about where you can find us. And that is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at 250 Reasons. You can send us an email at 250reasons@gmail.com. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube,
Acast.
That's the one. That's it. I think actually, that's everything.
Sweet.
So, Keiran, what are we doing now?
Leaving. Bye.
Bye.